Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John, and I am so excited to spend some time with you today. Now, before we jump into this episode, I'm going to share a quote with you that I recently read, and it says, "Ambition is not a dirty word. It's just believing in yourself and your abilities." And those wonderful words come to us from one of my favorite actresses of all time, Reese Witherspoon. Now, I have to tell you, my friend, this episode is going to be a little bit out of the ordinary because normally I am talking with a guest. And today you are stuck with me, only me, for this episode. And we are talking about what I believe is one of the smartest ways that you can grow and scale your short-term rental business in 2026. And that is through the power of co-hosting. I have had the distinct pleasure of not only serving my clients in a full service property management role, but also I serve other clients in a co-hosting role. And if I had to start over again, I would absolutely start with co-hosting instead of just going into full service property management. Now, you might know I also own short-term rentals myself, and co-hosting was a great way for me to expand my portfolio. But before I jump into some details here, I want to talk with you about something that will make this episode 10 times more valuable. And it's called the Co-Host Code. It is an ebook that I wrote, and you can grab it for $4.99 right on my website, which is stacystjohn.com. It walks you through step by step, starting and scaling a profitable co-hosting business. I also talk in great detail about the difference between full service property management and co-hosting, because a lot of folks in our industry don't even know the difference. So again, before we dive into this conversation, just know that you can grab your copy of the co-host code for less than $5 over at stacystjohn.com. All right, so let's dive in. Why do I believe co-hosting is one of the best ways to start and scale your short-term rental business? Well, first and foremost, co-hosting is a way for you to grow your portfolio without having to invest cash. So many folks are looking to grow their short-term rentals businesses, and they are thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have enough for another down payment yet. And that lack of down payment keeps them stuck for years. And so if you are looking to grow your portfolio, co-hosting can be a phenomenal way to grow your portfolio without having to buy the property. Okay, so you need no down payment. You need no mortgage. You don't need a furnishing budget, and you don't have any risk-heavy setup. Okay, what it does need is your expertise, your systems, and your ability to create an incredible guest experience. Okay, and why do I love it most? Well, co-hosting actually lets you test your systems. It lets you expand your horizons when it comes to guest communication and automations. It allows you to dial in and help other hosts with your pricing strategy, and also helps you really hone in your operational style before you ever buy a property. And some people are looking to get into the short-term rental space and they don't even have their first property yet. Absolutely, co-hosting can be something that you embark on before you buy your first short-term rental. It can give you the cash flow to be able to purchase your first short-term rental. So co-hosting is a phenomenal way to grow your short-term rental portfolio. Again, even if you're already hosting or if you don't have your first property yet. Now, the other beautiful thing that I want to say is that co-hosting is a wonderful way to support other people. You know, one of the things that I love most about what I do day in and day out is I have the distinct opportunity to help other people. And when I got into the short-term rental space, when I started investing in short-term rentals and buying my own properties, I was going at it from a real estate investing perspective. And I had no idea how much I would absolutely fall in love with this industry because in my world, I get to be one small little part of someone's family vacation. Okay. I get to, again, be just a speck on the wall when it comes to helping someone create memories for a lifetime. And when we get into co-hosting, we not only have the opportunity to support our guests, but we also have the opportunity to support other real estate investors. And that is incredibly rewarding work. It is something that, again, I didn't even anticipate when I started out, but it is something that I have grown to absolutely love the fact that I can help someone make lifelong memories on their family vacations and also help real estate investors not have to worry about the day-to-day of operating their short-term rental properties, okay? Because my team is doing it for them. Next, I want to talk about, for a few minutes, some common mistakes that I see folks making when it comes to co-hosting, okay? The first mistake is quite natural. And by the way, any of these mistakes that I'm going to walk you through, if you are making them, just know that you are not alone. Okay. I see so many people making these mistakes, and heck, some of them I probably made myself. Okay. So I don't come at it from a judgy perspective. What I want you to know is that there are better ways for you to operate. Okay. So the first mistake I see folks making is when it comes to co-hosting, what happens naturally is you start co-hosting because a friend or a fellow real estate investor has asked you to help them with their property. And the biggest mistake I see is that folks are treating other people's properties as their own. Now, I want you to do that from the perspective of caring for the property, but you absolutely need systems to support your co-hosting clients. Okay, you absolutely need systems. And I will be the first person to say that those systems can feel incredibly heavy to develop on your own. And I know that I've spent many hours developing my own systems. And that's one of the things that I, again, feel so incredibly lucky to be able to do is for folks that are in my mentorship and mastermind programs, I'm able to give them the system so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. But if you are looking to grow a co-hosting business or launch a co-hosting business, you absolutely need systems that are outside of what you are utilizing in your day-to-day. It can be onboarding systems, okay? When you're winging owner onboarding, I will tell you, you're always going to feel behind the eight ball, okay? You need checklists, you need defined processes and workflows. And again, I talk about this in depth inside the co-host code. What's important is you're able to onboard owners without chaos and not be the bottleneck when you're onboarding owners. I will tell you, there was a time when I was the bottleneck in onboarding owners because I was doing that myself. Now, if you know me, you know I absolutely subscribe to a model where I delegate work to other folks. And I discovered, whoa, I need to delegate this onboarding because I am holding myself up. And I also need systems, processes, workflows, checklists, automations when it comes to onboarding clients. So again, I think it's really important that you have systems in place when you are co-hosting. And that's probably the number one mistake I see people making, because just through natural osmosis of hosting their own properties, They're co-hosting business without having those systems in place. They're kind of treating it as their own property, and it is very, very different. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about as a mistake is undercharging because you just want your first client, okay? And you believe that by lowering your rates, it is the fastest way to grow your business. And let me tell you loud and clear, when you undercharge for your services, it is the fastest way to begin resenting your business. Okay. So you deserve to be paid for the transformation that you provide for other people, not the hours that you work. Okay. And absolutely, we talk about how to price your services inside the co-host code. It is where a lot of people trip up and actually cause themselves to make less money than what they should be, number one. And number two, what they find is they've created a job for themselves that they end up resenting. If you are looking to launch or grow a co-hosting business in 2026, I want you to fall in love with that business. I want you to be excited by your work. I do not want you resenting your work. Okay. And let me tell you, when you feel like you're not being paid the value that you bring, you absolutely will begin resenting that business. Okay. Mistake number 3, we talked about the not having systems in place. We talked about undercharging for your services. Number 3, when it comes to mistakes is, oh my gosh, I see so many people do this, taking any client who says, I want you to help me with my property. Let me tell you, my friends, not all owners are created equal. Okay. Some owners are dream clients, and those are the clients that we want for you. Other clients are going to drain your soul, your time, and your sanity. Okay. And it's really, really important that you understand, number one, what your boundaries are and what you will not provide as a service and what you will not be able to offer your clients, and what you will not do when it comes to communication outside of your set hours. It is absolutely important that you set boundaries in your business, and also make sure that when you are talking with potential clients, you are presenting those boundaries in a very professional way, but you are attracting clients who actually appreciate those boundaries. Okay. So you absolutely, I promise you, will resent your business if you undercharge for your services. And you absolutely will resent your business when you have clients who don't value and respect you, who don't value and respect your boundaries, who don't value and respect your time. Now, another example of a wrong client is someone who doesn't value your expertise. Okay. And so often when it comes to boundaries in our co-hosting businesses, we need to have standards. We need to have quality standards from my vantage point, from my perspective. And what happens oftentimes is when folks just take on any client, they sometimes are taking on clients who don't have the same alignment with those quality standards. And so there ends up being some friction between the co-host and the client because the co-host is holding themselves to the highest standard and the client isn't. And so you want to, replace the wobbly doorknob. You want to have professional photos taken, but your client is saying, no, I'm sorry, I'm just going to let it be. Or the pictures I took with my iPhone are good enough, right? So it's really, really important that you're setting boundaries for your business, that you're communicating those boundaries in a professional way so that your clients appreciate them and appreciate you. Okay, so let's just recap. We've talked about a lack of systems, treating your co-hosting clients as your own property. And again, I want you to care for the properties and care for the guests like they were your own. But it's absolutely critical that you have the right systems in place to operate your co-hosting business. Number 2 is undercharging because you just want a client. Mistake number 3 is taking any client that shows interest or is raising their hand to say, I want you to help me with my property. Now, the next mistake that I want you to really hear me on is tying your worth to your availability. I see so many folks who are grinding and who are glued to their phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because they believe that is what is required when you are a co-host. Let me tell you, my friends, automation exists for a reason, okay? Templates exist for a reason. Boundaries exist for a reason, as we just spoke about. I want you to know that when you set up a proper co-hosting operation, I should say, your operations can run without you in the picture. And again, I have the distinct pleasure of helping teach women inside my accelerator program how to do that day in, day out. And whether you're looking for a coach or a mentor or templates and systems, what I want you to know is your value is so much greater than the time you have for your business. And I want you to begin treating yourself that way. So it's really important that you understand your hourly rate. And you might go, what do you mean by that, Stacy? Well, inside my accelerator program this week, actually in preparation for our goal setting, we have everyone going through an activity where we are reminding ourselves of the value of our time and establishing an hourly rate. The value that you bring to your co-hosting clients is based on your experience, your expertise, and actually your network. Your network is your net worth. And so it's really, really important that, again, you are not tying your worth to your availability. You are tying your worth to the value that you are delivering for your co-hosting clients. All right. Mistake number 5, oh my goodness, is not knowing what to say to owners. Okay. Now, this is huge because the right words when you're selling your co-hosting services, that creates confidence in your owners. And confidence is what closes clients. Okay. Clients are what build your business. All right. So it is absolutely important that you have the right scripts to talk through when you are presenting your services. It is absolutely important that you have the right scripts in place when you are doing outreach to owners. It is absolutely important that you have the right scripts when you are following up with potential clients. You absolutely need the right way to position your business. And yes, your co-hosting service is a business. All right. So making sure that you are positioning yourself as professional, having standards, having a brand, sounding like a business owner so that people treat you like one. Okay. And so often folks are going into sales conversations with a potential client and they don't know how to present themselves in a way that that client is going to go, yeah, I trust that person. Yes, I will absolutely pay the additional money to have this person co-host my property. So again, I think it's so important that you are setting yourself up for success. And by having the right things in place, you can create a scalable co-hosting model that offers you not only time freedom, but financial freedom. And let's face it, we all got into the short-term rental space for freedom, right? Okay, So let's talk about some things that you need to have in place. Now, we've talked through some of these with regard to the mistakes, but let's just highlight them. Number one, you need to have clear, repeatable systems. Okay. Successful co hosts don't need to reinvent the wheel, they document the wheel. Okay. And again, you have access to other people's systems. I talk about this in my Live Big book a lot, knowledge hacking. Tapping into other people's knowledge and experience, templates, systems will help you accelerate your growth. Okay. And if I can be a support system for you, I would love to be. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. You might be listening to this and saying, Stacey, nope, you're not the right one. I want to tap into someone else's knowledge. That is totally fine. But my point is you do not have to do this alone. Okay. So get the help that you need, tap into other people's knowledge, experiences, use their templates, use their scripts, use their messages, use their automations so that you are not having to reinvent the wheel. Number two, I believe you need a premium brand. Now, what do I mean by this? Owners are trusting you with a 6 or 7 or maybe 8-figure asset. Okay. They want someone who is professional, who is trustworthy, and absolutely competent. So I believe it's critically important that you are building a premium brand with your co-hosting business. Now, I'm not telling you have to go spend thousands of dollars on a fancy logo or have swag bags made or anything like that. But it is absolutely important that when you are presenting materials to a potential client, that you are presenting them in an ultra professional manner, that you know how to speak to clients, that you know how to build trust with clients. Okay. Number 3, my friends, you need boundaries. You need boundaries. What's also super important with boundaries is that you are able to manage expectations. So your client, when they sign your co-hosting agreement, they need to know what's next. They need to understand what is expected of them in order to get live with their listing, or maybe you're taking over their listing. They need to understand what to expect with how you're going to communicate with them. They need to understand what they can and can't do. I actually had an owner reach out on Airbnb to a guest, and I had to very quickly send her a quick note and say, hey, can we hop on a call? And remind her that, hey, that's our job. That's our job. Let us do that, please. Okay. So setting boundaries and managing expectations with your owners is absolutely important. Number 4, what you need is you need to know your numbers. Okay. You need to have your pricing strategy honed in. You need to understand your profit margins. You need to understand your time and your capacity. These determine the sustainability and longevity of your co-hosting business. Okay. And again, so many folks just kind of start co-hosting almost by accident. They're not really thinking about their numbers. Now, again, if you are in my accelerator program, you know that I track data like nobody's business. And your data can actually turn into future business. So by understanding how your properties are performing against the market, how you're trending against other co-hosts and property managers in your area is absolutely important. But it is absolutely important not only to win new business, but also to help your owners remain confident in your abilities. Okay. Sometimes, especially during a down season, like it is right now at the beach, during the winter time, not many people are taking beach vacations. Okay. And this is the time of year when owners are feeling the pain of not having the revenue that they have during the summer. And so helping your owners understand, hey, listen, this is what we're seeing in the market. This is how you're performing against the market is absolutely paramount. Okay. The last thing that I want to talk with you about that may seem a little out of the ordinary, but I believe is so incredibly important is you need to have confidence in yourself. And confidence is built through action. Confidence is built sometimes by borrowing courage from other people. And even if you're new, I am here to tell you, you can absolutely build confidence by leaning on systems, on templates, and on other people's knowledge. And again, this is exactly why I wrote the co-host code. So with that, I want to encourage you that if you are looking to grow your short-term rental portfolio in 2026, if you are looking at your bank account and going, I'm not sure that my funds for my down payments are going to match my growth goals, I want to encourage you that co-hosting can be a phenomenal way for you to earn phenomenal revenue, for you to be a wonderful resource for other short-term rental owners, but it can be an empowering way to get the freedom that you are desiring from your short-term rental business. And if I can help you with that, I would be delighted to. So I just want to extend a quick invite to grab your copy of the co-host code. Go to stacystjohn.com and you'll see right on the homepage a link to grab your copy. It's less than $5, less than a Chick-fil-A sandwich, my friends. And it's something that can literally change the trajectory of your short-term rental business in the next 12 months. Thanks so much for being here and listening to me today. Again, I know it's not very often where you just hear me talking myself, but I hope that this episode helps you in some way, shape, or form. I'll see you soon. Hey girl, before you go, grab your calendar and block out February 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2026. Why? Because those are the dates of the Short-Term Rental Virtual Summit for Women. Let me tell you, this year is going to be better than ever, and we've got some amazing surprises lined up for you. Stay tuned for more details, but in the meantime, save the dates, February 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2026, and I can't wait to see you there.